Hello, my name is Jackblade, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're playing some Satisfactory, and I stopped making videos, like let's play videos of this world, but I have been streaming it a little bit, and I have been playing on my own, and today I wanted to make a video talking about what was my next big step in this, and it was the World Resource Highway, a railway network that spans the world that helps me gather resources and move them around without having to make massive belt buses over and over and over and over again. So what really inspired this is that you guys have been asking on every video that I have made that has been talking about logistics and that has been talking about anything to do with trains. They have been talking about how do I do with inter-factory logistics and how do I do with or how do I do with trains on a worldwide scale. Can we see examples? And that's a very big project, so I decided to do it. So if this really interests you, make sure to hit the like, subscribe button, and if you have any questions, ask them in the comments. So when I stopped making videos here, this is where we were. We had made one train station, we had put the plastics that we're producing, we don't have anything for the rubber, and the goal that we have with all of this is 2,400 plastic, this is 2,000 rubber. We need to be able to move that to different places in the world. How does that work? How do we make it work? And a world resource highway, for those who haven't seen my logistics videos, is a resource highway, essentially a central highway in which you move resources from one part of the world to the other at maximum speeds and quantities. And that's what we're gonna do here today. So how do we move this around? The best way that I can start by describing this is with this. So on Mornrock, this mega factory / city that I'm building over here has a set location where I am building railways. So there's going to be a railway that goes around the entire structure. And this is because this building is so big that I probably will need to move things from here over to there and vice versa. And not only that, I want this floor to essentially be the logistics hub for the entire world. This is where I transfer between trains, and drones and vehicles and stuff like that. This is basically the post office of the world. That's gonna be this floor, more or less. That's how I would describe it. And here is where everything comes in. This is the say hello to the world kind of thing. Every train that comes in here, and then it comes in here and it goes to the stations and it's sorted either into the factories, like smelting stuff that is underneath, and there's probably gonna be some stuff on top as well. I'm not certain of how I'm going to be working with that, but inside this building there is a massive amount of space that I will be using for factories and stuff like that. So there is like a massive project with this entire city, and it needs resources. How much resources, you ask? Well, I'm going to bring up a picture or a screenshot or a screen capture of Mornrock's planning, and we're going to be looking at the resources that are going to be brought in here. So these resources are insane, right? That's a lot of resources per minute, like raw resources per minute to be bringing in. And we also need to bring in stuff from the other city down there. Like in the south, we have Clearhaven, where we will import smart plates, automated wiring, silica, and reanimated sand. And a very big aspect of bringing all of that in is like time. How much time does it take for a train to go from down south up here to the north? And we need to fix all of that. We need to think about all of that when we plan our World Logistics Highway. So if we hop back into the game, boom, we're here. If we look at this, and I want to be clear, when we build this, it's going to be simple to build, but it is going to take time. No matter how you look at this, these are big projects. If you're just building a single rail line between two factories, that's a small project, that's simple, you can do that like in a half an hour, 45 minutes probably. If you're building something like this, start sectioning it up into, hey, I might need 20 hours, 30 hours to build something as massive as a worldwide resource highway. So here's where I've started. And this might change, I might like redo this later down the line. That's why I've given myself a lot of space. This is where I basically connect up to the rest of the world, to my to the railway that goes all the way around Mornrock itself for its like internal logistics. So what I have here is essentially two lines where we go down, and here's going to be stations over here, and there's going to be stations over here, and everything. So ultimately, what that becomes is our big central like roundabout, turnabout, like where we sort where the trains go. And if we look at the other direction, you can see this is a little bit off center, and I will fix that. Just it's going to be a little bit. But basically, I'm using blueprints to create a simple platform like this. And in my case, I'm using like implied floating like anti-gravity technology to go here, so I don't have to spend a lot of time building a support and stuff like that. And then I'm basically going all the way across like this. And I keep going, and I'm going to keep going all the way. Here's the big thing when you're talking about this. Like, some of you will look at this and go like, yeah, okay, but this is ugly. Well, it's not done. The first step is to have a resource highway. The second step is to make it look good. Well, second step is actually using it. Third step is making it look good. So I've been doing this, and I might rework some of these slopes. I'm not super happy with all of these slopes, so I might rework those. However, I have one. It's more than a lot of people can say, because they get frozen because they go like, okay, but I need to make it look good. Don't think about that. Just make sure that you have a resource highway. And then I have also started prepping for the one going a little bit to the north and out against the water. But yeah, I will realign a lot of this stuff. But essentially, once I've started doing this, it's literally a question of rinse and repeat, right? So once I have gotten, like, and I don't know why this is here, I can remove that. So once I've started building this across, that's all I gotta keep doing. And like, I have no business doing anything else until this is all the way across to where I want it to go. And the same thing goes over here. I want that to go all the way down and all the way around, like wrapping around the south, like abyss, like depth that is beneath the map. And then I want one north, and I want like, and I have nothing else to do except doing that. And I need to let it take the time it takes. It's gonna be repetitive, and it's gonna be finicky. There's gonna be curves. There's gonna be obstacles in the way and everything. And I will say right now, I did a lot of this on a stream. And if you want to see me actually building this, go check out those VODs. They are on my channel, and you can check them out and see in detail how I've been working to get that done. However, what this means is that we have gotten started, but we are nowhere near where we can actually implement this, and you need to let it take time. If you have an hour a day to play this, do this for an hour a day for a month, and you will get here. If you feel bored, then go work on some other smaller projects. Go spend that hour like exploring the world, play another game, go to the gym. Like, it doesn't matter. But if you're playing this and you want a resource highway specifically, and that's what you're working towards, this is what you need to do. Sadly, like, there is no quick fix to it. The quickest fix is what I'm doing here, which is literally just like floating platforms, which I make it look like it makes sense that they float, but they're still just floating platforms. And then I can just like smack in a bunch of railway to make sure that I have something going all the way down to where I wanted to. How do we go from here? Like, what was my next step from here? Let's check that out. All right, so we actually have a little bit of a setup now. And if we go up, high up in the air here, you can see that the rail line goes all the way across, all the way down, and wraps around the way that I wanted it to. And same thing up here, I ran out of resources around here. This was on the stream. And I also built this up, so you can see this one example of what I can do. This is a limestone pickup. So there's a bunch of these pillars you can see around these. That's me marking out resource like depots or nodes that I will be mining from. and I will be bringing in all of the limestone that I can to these. So this is going to be 10 times 480, so 4,800 lime coming into this station. This I will bring into over here, which is the lime drop-off. Because I need a lot of concrete, that is why I'm doing that. So that is one setup. Now here's the thing. If I needed, for example, twice that amount, and then here's the big thing, here's the big draw for this kind of setup. I would basically go and I would look for the limestone that I need. Say, for example, now that's not the case, but there's a bunch of limestone around here, for example. Like there's a little bit of limestone there, there's a couple of nodes of limestone, like there's one there, there's one there. So I could make a train station here. I would go boop boop and just put up a bunch of stations, or 3 stations technically, because there's 3 nodes, 1, 2, 3. And I would put it here and I would say, okay, let's bring it up. And it would take me maybe 20 minutes to set up a station, and it would be able to bring over more limestone. So that's why this is such a good thing to have, because it means that you don't have to have the fully built, fully build a new line every time the way you need to do with like pipes and belts. And that is the real power with this. That, and that you can get such a massive quantity to move around at the same time. And like working out how to make the curves so that they are nice and smooth. Like it took a little bit, but it's basically like trial and error, and then you find out how to do it, and you will automatically have very, very nice curves like this. Once again, I am not doing anything visual with this yet. I am not at the point where making it look good is in any way, shape, or form a priority. I have a checklist of resources that I need to bring in to this world, or to this mega factory, that I still haven't done yet, and that is priority number 1. So let's double check. We're gonna move to my latest save, and we're gonna see how does it look like. And there are different versions or different like setups of different kinds of stations that you can do, and I kind of want to show that as well. Okay, we are back in this world now, and you can see that there's a lot more stations. There is a lot more going on. There's trains running a little bit everywhere, and what I kind of want to show, this is the limestone train going out, doing its thing. And here we have the case of, I want to show this type of station, or this type of pickup, what we're doing here. This is a dedicated to a single resource type kind of station. It will only pick up limestone and nothing else, and it will drop off at a station that only drops off limestone. And it is kind of like saturated enough that I can't add more trains without it becoming oversaturated. Like if I bring in more limestone to the station, it's going to go too fast. So as you can see already, it's at the limit of what it can do. So it's already getting filled up. It's bringing in too much too fast, so the transfer rate is not what I would like it to be. And that's not necessarily a good thing. So what I would like to do then is essentially like, okay, let's slow down, because what's important is that this keeps running at 480 per minute, and that takes in stuff at 480 per minute. If this stops, or if that stops over there, then something's wrong. We need to fix that. But yeah, we have a bunch of different trains. Let's check the different kind, or the next kind we have here is a kind of train that only brings in plastic. So this is a part train, right? So, and then we have a rubber train here. Plastic and rubber, and the idea here is that there's a factory over there underneath that makes all the plastic and all the rubber, right? But I'm going to make another factory over in this area underneath here, right? That makes computers and circuit boards and all of that kind of stuff. So what I need to do is bring in plastic from a different location. So I'm bringing it in from here, but it's not going to be using all of it. That is okay, because it will automatically be blocked off with how much it is using per minute, like down below. And the rest I will still have available to send to other factories. So the next time I build a factory that needs plastic, I can smack up a station that is identical to this, where I have plastic also coming in, the same train and everything. I might even add a second train if it's a far away, so I need to supplement to make sure that it has the same throughput rate. And that's a little bit of trial and error. Same thing there, there's a lot of trial and error. The important thing is, you can see that there's no visual flair put into this at all so far. And that is because step number one is to just have it. Second is use it. Third is put some visual flair in if that's what you want. So this is a up and running, being used World Resource Highway, where for now I have put in awesome things because I have not brought in all the resources, so I'm not ready to start building the factory yet. But we will look, so that is a single resource, and that is a single part kind of station, and we will go over here and look up, and we will see a multiple parts pickup, or multiple resource pickup, where I made a turn off and expanded on this. So from that center line, we have a turn off here. It goes in all the way down here, nice smooth curve. And this, like every single in between here that is a straight, is a place where I can put a station, which is an important detail as well. So as you can see, these have different colors, and that is for me so that I can see which train it is. And what you can see here underneath is we bringing in some more limestone, copper, and then 4 nodes of iron. And they go in here. So we have a single train, but it's multiple resources. And that is nice. Because it means, like, you can do this as well. I could literally just go like, well, I need more of whatever it is, like iron, so for example. So I look at the iron drop-off, and I can see that, okay, the iron drop-off has, for example, for the 4 front stations. Okay, then I make another one, for example, here. I make another station that only picks up iron, and it only has 3 cars. Those 3 cars, when they deliver to that drop-off, they will only be able to deliver to the first 3 freight stations, right? Those first 3 freight stations are going to be iron. Is this even correct? I might have messed something up here, because that's copper, limestone, copper. Yeah, okay, so the last 3 cars. So wrong, let me rephrase that. Let's say that I want another car of limestone. Then I just make a single car train, and it comes in here and it goes back out. And something to be really to pay attention to when it comes to this train as well. Let's see if we can catch up to it. Where is that train? It's over here. So as you can see, this train has a car going, or a locomotive going that direction, and it has a locomotive going the other direction. That means that this is a two-way train. It can literally just go in here and stop, and instead of needing a turnabout, it can just go straight back out again. And it's quite simple building these. You literally just place one of them down like so, and then on the other end, you switch to a one of those, and then on this end, you have a railway car going this other direction. You can flip that by using the scroll wheel. So you can change which direction it goes. And if it's like this, it's a push-pull train. That's what they're called. And simple as that, you can have as many of those as you want. Now, something to be said for push-pull trains is that they're a little bit more complex when it comes to making sure that they're on the right rail, because if this tried to go out on this rail, it'd be going on the wrong side. That is determined by the signals. So if you have multiple trains and you don't have signals unlocked yet, that's gonna screw you over. And you can also see that I am putting these very, very they're very close to each other, even if I have longer trains. And the reason for that is I want the blocks to free up faster. So if I didn't have this, for example, it wouldn't, or rather, if I didn't have that, this would stay red until it passed the next one, right? So to avoid that and allow trains to run with a better flow, I have the block signals a lot closer to each other. And that is to prevent queues building up and stuff like that. And as you can see, I have like I have 2 trains for that. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trains running on this, and they are like, they need to pause a little bit sometimes, but there's never queue building up, and that is the important part. When you start seeing queues building up, that's when you have too much traffic for your intersection, at which point, like for example, I would maybe make sure that this train avoids that intersection entirely and move that station, for example, down here. And I would make a turnoff here for that to get to its station and then get back, instead of having that single one here, because that might get oversaturated after a while. Don't be afraid to rip up some railway and rebuild. That's fine. The trains are just going to be waiting for you. And let's look at the next type of train that we are building. We're flying down this direction, and we're going to Clearhaven, the first city, because we're looking at a multiple part, multiple station pickup. And there can also be a multiple station drop off. And the reason for that is that you can filter which resources to drop off in the timetable on the trains, no problem. So it's not going to be a hard thing. Like, you can have a single train with like 10 different parts and just tell it like, hey, you can only drop off this part at this station. You can't drop off the other parts you're carrying. So if you fly down here, we get down to station number 1 here. This one is picking up automated wiring and smart plating that we will need for the space elevator parts up in the right corner, right? So I have basically brought them in, and you can see that these are empty stations. And this is to prevent any kind of like mixing. It's also cheaper. Like, if you look at what this is made out of versus what this is made out of, I need motors and wire and plastic, and I'm kind of avoiding that entirely by using these. So they're cheaper to build, which is also very important. And then you have the next station, because that one only picks up 2 parts, but that train is a 4-car train. And that is, if we fly over here and we take a good long look at this station, it is picking up a couple of other things. And those other things are silica, about 300 per minute. There's a little bit more right now because I have no, what's it called? I'm not using it anywhere else, so there's more than there would normally be. And then we have the, what's it called? Reanimated SAM, I think it's the name for those. Yes, which we'll be needing up in Mornrock to make some of the resources and some of the parts that we're looking to make. And that basically means that, and I can see here that these are reversed. So now those 2 pickups over there, they can only pick up and put them into the right cars that I want them to. They can't mix and match. And same thing here, they can't mix and match the like drop off on the other station. And ultimately, yeah, I could also then take, because it's four parts, right? So I could make 4 separate stations and tell them, hey, you drop off this part here, you drop off this part here, and you drop off this part here. I haven't done that. I've told them to drop it off in one place because I want to have a single station like dedicated to delivery from Clearhaven to Mornrock. It's easier for me to think about like purely logistically, like where does these trains come from, because I can't just think about where are, like, what is coming in. I also have to think about where are they coming from, like how many trains are on this line. Because imagine yourself like that there is a train line splitting off here, going in like through, like on the same on the ground, it's going up over here, and it's going in all the way, and it's bringing in resources that you can find up here. For example, there's a copper node somewhere around there. There's a copper node. What if, or 2, what if I bring in these 2 copper nodes, and there's a SAM node over here? If I bring in that SAM node as well, and there's a Caterium node over here, there's 2 big nodes of quartz in this area, if I remember correctly. I know that they've rebuilt it, but I just gotta check here. Yeah, so there's 2 quartz nodes over here. If I start bringing that in, yeah, and limestone as well, ooh, bunch of good resources. So I will probably need a longer train for that. will that train start blocking the resource delivery from Clearhaven? So it's also about like the traffic on the railways that I need to think about. And all of that goes to say that like, you can't, like, I don't recommend building this big of a setup as the first thing you do, first time you try this. I don't. I literally don't. I don't think that anyone benefits from having something like this. I don't think all saves need something like this either. I think that the best way to implement something like this in a good way for the first time you're trying to make a world resource highway or a train network at all, start with something very, very small. You start between two different factories. One of them is making all the basic iron parts, and the other one needs, like, the other one is the assembler parts, like that you need for the phase 1, which is the, like, you need iron plates, screws, iron rods, and you need them to make the modular frames, you need them to make the smart plating, and you need them to make the rotors. So what you then do is you make a second factory that makes those that you can run the train to, and then it drops off the iron plates, rods, and screws at that factory. They're being produced, and then once you've done that, you can go like, okay, now I'm making all of the more advanced parts at phase 1 production done. I can then see what of this do I need in more advanced factories, and then move them from that factory to the next one. Like, start with that. Be very step-by-step and iterative, and build as needed, rather than what I have done, which is I'm going to have this built, and then I'm going to start building trains on it. Like, I've done that because I have the time, and I have the experience for it. If you don't have the time, if you don't have the focus, for whatever reason, if the school's in the way, or like you literally, like, some people have the problem with, like, they build something for 10 hours and then they get bored. This is gonna take more. So if that's the case, then limit your project to fit what capacity you have. And I can honestly say that if I tried to add the visual to this before, like, I built one, add the visual, and then build one, and then add visual, I would not be finishing this. I would give up on this project so damn fast, because I like, oh no, it would take so much time. So I need to build it out, have it working and everything. And the reason for that is so that I can start building on the visual, and because then when I, like, start feeling like, okay, this is becoming too much, I can switch gears, come on over here, and start building a factory. Like, one of the massive setups that I have underneath here, you can see what I've already done. Like, the water setup, that was a massive project. Like, this is the rubber plastic loop. This is a massive project that takes up a lot of resources, and it took a lot of time. I spent, I think, 4 or 5 episodes in the Let's Play building just this. It takes so much time and so much energy. And I wish I could have built this and just gone like, nah, you know what, now I'm going to start building trains. But my brain didn't allow for it because I was making episodes. So it was like, they are not going to like that you didn't finish this right away. So I didn't allow myself, and it got really, really difficult. I had to struggle a lot to get it done. But here's the thing. Ultimately, you build the resource highway the way that you want to build the resource highway. The most important bit to make it work, I think, is to start very, very small. And even then, if you can, break it up into smaller pieces, and then make each piece a manageable part of a larger project. Don't try to think, okay, I need a world resource highway, so I need to start building a big square around the whole thing. And then when I built the big square around the whole thing, I cross and I go from here to here, and then I go from here to here, and then I go from here to here. And like, you're never gonna get done. By the time you have set up that railway, you're gonna be so done with playing the game because you haven't progressed, you haven't gotten any of that like sweet dopamine that makes Satisfactory a great game. So you need to be able to break it down into manageable bite-sized projects. Like, now that I have the railway up and running, I can go, my next project is making one station. It takes me at the maximum, it takes me an hour to build that station. And then I'm like, good, done. And now I can drop that. And then I can go, okay, next part is me setting up all of the refineries for pure iron, like the iron ingot production for whatever I need down here. Now I need, like, break it up into bite-sized chunks. If you try to if you try to eat the whole cake at the same time, you're gonna throw up. Like, that's just the case. And the railway is, while not the most advanced project that you build in Satisfactory, when you do stuff like what I'm doing here, it automatically turns into the largest project that you are building in Satisfactory. And you need to treat it as such. Otherwise, you're gonna burn out. Now, this is pretty much everything I have to say about this, and I do hope that you guys are going to enjoy building your own railways, and I hope that you guys get to, can tell me down in the comments if you have some insights. What did you do that helped you get started and get to the point where you enjoyed what you were doing and you could progress and actually continue the game and not get stuck at the railway stations. So thank you so much for being here. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Just don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. And bye!